So, Slotco friends, today we're going to talk about the DTM of slot.it, and this is the Calibra. And in the backside, you will see the Merc, one of the first Mercs that came out, the Camel variant. It's quite nice to talk about those cars because now, let's say 5 years, 4 years, because we started digital with those Ninko's Shapeways CCs, Olivers. They're Oliver CCs, and we made them a Sidewinder with 20,000 SRP motors, and yeah, they're fantastic. They're over 30 years old, 25, 30 years old, and they still drive. This is our own paint job of the Mercedes. The lookalikes. And this is my variant I made of the Calibra, and now you can see his competitor over here. Yeah, this one is of course an inline, so it's a total different cookie. And if we talk about weight and distribution, yeah, this is a whole different ball game. Why I'm gonna talk about the DTM slot.it this time. For now, we're not gonna do them digital. I made this one for the fun of it. It has a digital chip in it from Oxygen, and I put some lights in it, and it was more of a pace car for me. But this year we had a meeting on our club, and they want to have a new class, and it's going to be the DTM series of slot.it. So and we're going to drive them analog. So this is the first time I had a different look at those cars, because they didn't interest me, because I had a lot of DTMs already. But now it's going to be in our competition. So I bought one last week. This one was very difficult to come by because it was sold out all over Europe. And there are only 3 different models. We got a Mercedes, 2 versions, an Alfa and a Calibra. So when 15 or 20 members of our club are going to drive those cars, well, they all will be the same. So I was looking for a color scheme that wasn't available anymore. So I found one in Europe, in Belgium. So I'm very pleased with this one. So let's open it up and let's see what we can modify on this car, because the main reason that we're gonna drive them was box stock, almost box stock. So let's see what we can do with it. So yes, slot car friends. Uh, what I said in the movie already, my starting point will be box stock. But what is box stock? Because if you're going to drive without magnets, and we are driving without magnets, then yeah, box stock is not an easy thing to do because you need probably some weight, etc., etc. And a car has to run a little bit better than box stock because it's put in each other with small Chinese hands, and some there are mistakes. So you have to check some things, and so no, it's not really box stock, but it's a little bit tuned. But what I meant to say with box stock is you don't have to put a lot of money into the car to get it give it a good ride. Uh, let's take the body off, and there are a few things to show. When you want to get rid of the magnet, you have to take out the motor, take the motor out, the gear out, etc., etc. So when you are taking those part of the car, then take everything off the car, because as in every every single chassis, sideways, NSR, slotted, the chassis is warped. This one was totally incorrect. It was warped like hell. So I show you a picture of my iron plate and magnets, and I tell you what you have to do to get rid of the warping. So now it is a straight chassis. Maybe I can highlight it a little. Yes, a little bit. So the magnet is out. That was the first thing to do. Then the electric wiring. I did some new electric wiring because it was very stiff. This was the original one, and the flag wasn't coming back, and now it's like you want it to be. It goes from left to right and always center. It wasn't the case with the old. It was it's hard. I don't know if it's from the years are laying in the store, and this was also strange for me. I've never seen it by a slotted car. It was soldered and into the braids, and you don't want any soldering over there. Yeah, some people like to drive with it, but this when you have a failure with electric, the first point to look that this will break at the end. So I never will solder the electric wiring. So I took the wiring off, and I had some more flexible wiring on the car. So that's one point. Throw it away. The braids from slotted. Focus, focus, focus. No, it will not. Over here, yeah. They are thick and not flexible. And when I'm driving on my track, it's going to be races from 6 times 3 minutes, so 80 minutes total. And then I also make a screenshot of it. I use MB. It's very thin. It's very flexible. You can bend it easily. It has no weight on the car. So I drive the thinnest braid I can get. If I drive endurances for about 12 hours, 14 hours, I found also in Germany of a very thin braid, but it is very stiff. So I can bend it. It is always on the track, similar on the track, and you can drive with it for about 13-14 hours. Very good braid. But for now, it's the braid from MB slot. Very thin. Under the car, we have now very thin braid. And you have the bracket and the screws from slot.it. Yeah, there is a little bit a naked one, but I don't like them at all. There are grub screws, and we take the small one for the bracket from slot.it themselves, and as you can see, they're into the bracket, and I loosen them up a little bit so that you can see I have some flex in it. It's an inline motor. I want that it's not solid. I want to have a little bit of play in it. New for me is that normally I put oil on the screws, and now I'm working with bearing grease from Sideways. I will leave a link with a photo to it, and I put it into the holes, and it's very nice flex now, but it's smooth. It makes it feel like butter. I like it, but it's a try, but I think it will do some tricks. So that's about talking about the screws. Yeah. Then you see I've got the motor mount. There were no screws in it. So in the motor mount there are now 2 screws to mount the motor in a better position. And I did some lubrication slightly at the pinion, so that this is from, I think I call it copper, so to prevent it wearing out, that it will run smooth and it will not damage this part of the gearing. So a little bit of grease over there will help the car running. Then the last year I noticed that slot.it has started making the cars lighter and lighter, which is good in racing perspective. However, I noticed that it also expands of the quality of the chassis. I have for now 3 cars, Group C cars, that are broke over there, and I have to replace the chassis, because they broke on the front leg from the axle carrier. And when you put in a hub screw over here, it will easily split. So if you're going to do 2 mils hub screws, then take so now I'm using a tap drill from 1.9, 2 mil, 2.1, so I can drill the holes a little bit over here, and so you have to be very careful, because when you go too far it will split in 2 and the chassis is kaput. I've printed it, some parts, to put it over the legs so that it is more secured for braking. It's also a try, and I hope that the legs won't break now, not anymore. It's a little bit stiffer now. I hope that Slot.it will look at it, because this is the third chassis in a few months by a Group C car. So, and it is the same as the legs of the body. There are more fragile than we had a few years ago of the cars. So, as you can see, I also drilled the holes a little bit wider so that I can easily put in the screws of Slot.it, because I changed those screws also. Here you can see, and then will fit better, but I also take an aluminium pipe, and I make them from 2-3 millimeter aluminium pipe, and I place them over the cover so that it will not split. So, as you can see, at the front and at the back, I did a better job to reinforce them. It's reinforce them. So I reinforce them so they will not break easily or split. You can also see that there is some lead placed on the front side of the chassis. In all our racing classes of slipstream, and that's a dynamic development of about 30 years experience, the minimum weight of a car was normally about 80 grams. This is most likely the experience once had on our wooden track. The minimum weight of our body is normally around 20 grams. This means that the chassis will be around 60 grams. The body of this DTM itself weighs a little and it's very fragile, so with the screws in it, it's about 18.4 grams. So that's a light car. And I've measured this one on the HMB test bench, and it drives about 24.6 kilometers per hour. And considering the tire is 19.1 mil, a pinion of 9, a gear of 28, and a motor of 21,000 RPMs, the sum of this is that it has to reach 24.3 kilometers per hour, so about 6-7 meters per second. So when it drives 24.6, the measurement is very accurate. Consider this and the reasonable speed in the corners, I expect that the car would quickly tip over. To prevent it, here is the 6.7 grams of lead to the chassis. So this makes the total chassis almost around those 60 grams and the body 18.8. So we will come the same conclusion I had before, like all the cars at Slipstream. The minimum amount of the car and the chassis will be around 80 grams. The height of the car, of the front wheels, I took, of course, 2 hub screws into, let's see if I can close it up over here, in the 2 holes, and I put it to the max, almost to the max. I give the tires a little bit of play left and front, so they can, and they have to run nice and smoothly. I lubricate them also, and when you put them on the bench, I stick this one. This is 1 mil, and it has almost a space of 1 mil at the front and at the side. So you can do maybe 1.0, maybe you can go to 1.5, I don't know exactly, but this is for now 1 mil space under the car to the track. And how does the car drive at the moment? Now, yesterday I tested it on a wooden track at Slipstream with the standard C1 tires, and I tested it with those NSR Ultra grip tires. And yes, the Ultra grip tires did what they had to do. They give a lot of grip. They are soft. They're easy to drive. And you could push the Calibra into the corners without rolling over. So maybe I'm going to try to do with less lead in it, because less is more. But for now, it's a very compatible car. And I also tried it with the C1 tires. It was not disappointing. Pushing into the corner and hitting the gas too early, then you get punished, because it makes then a repsy sound, and you had to tune the controller a bit to take it away. And yeah, it was wonderful to ride. So a tire that can absolutely be driven on wood. On the Carrera track over here, whatever. However, this tire doesn't provide enough grip. It steps out too much in the corners. It makes the whole car tail happy. But the tires did not have seen a truing machine. So maybe with truing it's going to be better. But for Carrera, I would think try to do another. I will go to the Ultra grips of the F22 slot.it, of the G25s. I have to test that for a Carrera. Carrera is always difficult to get the good tires. I've also a Ninko track, so I have to test the tires, the C1 with the Ninko. I don't think it will be a problem, but we'll see that later on. So I give you the tips to drive the car out of the box, almost out of the box. A little bit of tuning here and there, and have a lot of fun with all the DTMs. So stay tuned.